Day 39. So another really good day again today, and looking forward to a relatively chilled out weekend, just doing little bits and bobs with different people. Went to the pub with some colleagues after work, which was nice, and a couple of the girls I was with were talking about somebody that they both know and talk to quite a lot in passing, but don't actually know what his name was. And they both kind of came to the conclusion that because they'd had that many conversations over X amount of time, it was actually now just too awkward to ask what his name is, so they don't even know what his name is. And then my brain kind of flew off on trying to piece together why people would feel like it's too awkward to just say to somebody, no, actually I don't know your name. What is your name? Because overall that is just going to better a situation rather than have that weird, I don't actually know what his name is, and hoping he doesn't mention my name because I don't know his name to respond with. And so the only potential outcomes really are positive. But I think we get caught up in this kind of idea of trying to analyse ourselves from how other people see ourselves from the outside. So if I had my kind of personality here and I'm kind of in the middle of it, I can actually see the really brilliant bits or the absolutely mental bits that people don't necessarily see. And everybody's like that, everybody's a bit mental in some ways because we are just born one day and then raised into this world where we have to learn things and adhere to things, and of course nobody's personality is going to match perfectly what society expects of a human being, so everybody's a little bit mental in some way, and then we end up so trapped in looking at, okay, what does it look like from the outside, that you see all these potential negative outcomes of, oh, if I ask him what his name is, he might, I don't know, get really angry or think it's really rude, I don't know. We don't then allow ourselves to look outwards and kind of explore the world. Because if that were the case, it would be quite easy to walk up to somebody and say, oh, you know, actually, I don't know your name. Because we are looking outwards, trying to expand our horizons, I suppose, and meeting new things and learning about them and adding them to our little circle, which I suppose then gets bigger, I don't know. And certainly in the last few weeks, when I've had good days, that's kind of more where I've been, because I felt like I've not been, and because it feels like where for the last however many years I've been playing these different characters and not really exploring who I am, I don't really feel like I've got much of a circle for people to analyse, because I don't really feel like I necessarily have a persona, because I'm not used to being me, I'm used to being whatever I'm expected to be in a certain situation. Because I don't have that, it's much easier for me to go off and explore and look outwards, because I'm exploring the world and learning things and finding things and enjoying things. And I think I've spent a long time living by the idea of, well, why would I do that? Somebody's going to look at why I've done something, and then I've got to say, well, why did I choose to do that? Why did I choose to start making a blog? Why did I choose to do this? And then that stopped me ever really stepping out of my comfort zone and going off to do things. Whereas now I'm more in a mindset of, well, why wouldn't I do that? You know, I don't need a reason to go and do that. If there's a reason not to do it, if it's going to hurt somebody else or if it's going to cause damage to something, then I'm not going to do it. But if I can't see any downsides to something, I don't necessarily need to see the positives either. Why not do it? And then you end up journeying off somewhere and finding that there was actually a reason that you didn't even know about in the first place. And I think no matter who anybody is, nobody actually even knows what they don't know. And even venturing towards the world of stuff that you don't even know is out there, you'll never get to unless you start to go down the route of, well, why wouldn't I? Because you're living by the world that you do know exists, and you say, well, why within this world? And settle in that way of life. Which makes absolute sense, because over the millennia of humankind, we have lived in a place where we can only explore the local world around ourselves. But over the last 50 years, everything has become so accessible that there is so much broader scope to things that we can access and explore, but still this organic feeling that we should find our home and settle in that, because that's what everybody has done throughout the entire of human history. And I think particularly for my generation, that causes a bit of a disparity in what's possible and what my instincts are telling me to do. And then of course you combine that with social media, where people are off travelling and doing bits and bobs and sharing that, and then you start to go, well, maybe I'm out of touch with everything, and you start to question who you are. And neither of those two situations, either being in the small world that you enjoy being in or exploring the much bigger world, are better than the other. It's just finding the comfort in yourself, I suppose, of going outwards rather than inwards, and being true to what you are and what makes you happy. And that was kind of the route my brain went on when that conversation happened at the pub, and by the time my mind had stopped drifting and I'd rejoined the conversation, they were talking about childbirth. So in many ways, I'm kind of glad that my mind did disappear for a couple of minutes while they were having that conversation. But another good day, and looking forward to a chilled out weekend, so share, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.